Okay, hi everybody. I hope you're having a lovely day. Yeah, it's been a good week. I'm getting lots done. I've been posting a bunch of overdue stuff to Patreon and Windfall. I've got a bunch more that should be going to them quite soon. So good fun in the sun. As usual, if anybody has any one-page story ideas they want to throw at me or single word prompts, you're always welcome to do so. If anybody wants to jump in the conversation, anybody that usually comes here is pretty cool and laid back. And so you don't have to worry about, I don't want to talk in front of those people. What if they don't think I'm cool? Doesn't happen here. So feel free to always take part. And let's have some fun together. Today's one-page suggestion is a funny one. The talent of the hawk. This is good. Because I don't know what to do with this. It's today's... But we're going to have fun with it. And that's the whole point, is that not to, just sit down and look at these things in advance and prepare a whole bunch of ideas. The only thing I've prepared today is that I'm going to incorporate some of these. Stencils. I just want to incorporate some of that into whatever I'm doing. No plan, no nothing, just something. But look out! I can't see who this is. He must be wearing camouflage clothes today. How you doing, Jim? Welcome aboard. The Talent of the Hawk is today's one-page story suggestion for those of you that are just joining. Okay, let's talk about some things, shall we? Feelings. Anyways, today's page is what do you think of my dance moves? Now, this is the page that I drew yesterday in ballpoint pen while we were in the stream. Man. Just going with the flow, bro. Anyhow, all right. That's this is the page, and I took the bottom and I put it on the top. We could do that. So that was a fun one. It came through really quickly, and then what that allowed me to do was to sit down for a few minutes and post some more things and to do some. Well, it's just you and me here. I'm editing some videos. I know what you're saying. You're saying, happy Thursday, everyone. Oh, no, that's Gary saying that. Hi, Gary. Welcome aboard, sir. Okay, so this is the first page that I posted today. What do you think about dance moves? And the entire thing is just so I can get singing and dancing in the rain in there. Anyhow, so the other pages that I posted today, for those of you that aren't on Patreon, some of the exclusives were this one. He was an easy child. And I was trying something different with this page, where some of my notes that I might scribble on pieces of paper while I'm working, I put those in the page today. So this has got a bunch of layers and, modifying pictures and incorporating my drawings into them. And yeah, just trying stuff. You got to try stuff. I hope that everybody, when they're working, is experimenting and trying different things. So this was a fun one. And then the third page that I posted today on Patreon is, so I've been thinking lately about dogs. And that's not a dog. So I don't know. Just, again, playing off a thought, playing off of anything, really, any little notion that comes to your head. Just explore that notion. There's no expectation that every single page is going to be the great Canadian novel. Notice I said Canadian? That's right. I'm in Canada. It's just going for it and trying different stuff. Like this page I drew entirely digitally. And this was just a fun switch off from, the previous page, which is clearly half and half, like the creamer. And then the first page is entirely, the visuals are all drawn with ballpoint pen, but these little layers in here, patterns and stuff like that was thrown in digitally, which is why I thought I should get out some stencils and do some of that manually. So we're going to try that today. A whole bunch of people jumping in. I appreciate that, everybody. Chris has said hi. Hiya, Chris. How are you? And we're just getting nice, happy highs to each other. I always appreciate when someone says happy and then the day, because it helps me remember what day it is, which tells me I spend too much time in here. But that's okay. I like doing what I do. And so the other things, so there's Easy's Child and the funniest things. And if you scan along the top of that thing, there's a whole bunch more stuff coming, including Homogeneous Logic, which is a 4-page piece. It's about to get posted to Patreon as soon as I put the worms on. Nope, not worms, words. So lots of busy. So let's get the camera switched and get the drawn area up. Today's suggestion is at the top of the page. It is The Talon of the Hawk. Just okay. All right, what we're gonna do here. so we're gonna work with this and see what we can figure out with this. So in honor of this suggestion, literally the only thing that I've done to prepare myself for this, other than grabbing some stencils, is putting on a band that I like called the Front Bottoms, because they have an album called Talon of the Hawk, which is close enough. And so I thought, I'll listen to them today. So that's our music of choice for the day. Okay, so I got a white cardstock here and some jelly plating and whatnot and everything else under the sun. Let's try this though. Let's get this to the top of our stack. It's a nice, really thick and heavy grade cardstock. So this thing can take some abuse, but we're not going to be that mean to it. I think that let's just get into drawing the hawk. Let's just get into drawing a hawk. Now, normally in the past when I've drawn birds, I've tried to imply the movement of the birds by having multiple shots of their heads turning around in every panel. And I don't know what we're going to do today. I really don't have any idea, but we're going to have some fun. Just going to look up hawk. Anybody know how to spell that? I know how to spell it. Haw with a K. All right, so let's just get down to it. So here's my thinking. This is a Fudenisuke pen, which everybody knows that I love them very, very much. Fudenisuke, sponsor me. So, but I have some different colors of Fudenisuke pens. So that's what I got here. But I think that because of the tip of it, I don't want to run that through a stencil. So this is a Faber-Castell, but I am going to use it. This is a Faber-Castell pen, and so I'm just going to look through these different. Here we go. This you'll do. This will do. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw down some texture onto the surface and this is on this blue paper. I know it's fairly faded out, but this just because I want the lighting light enough so that you can see what's going on the page. Trying different lighting settings this week just to see what we can figure out. Now I've got this pattern, and maybe holding it up will be easier. Okay, so I've got this pattern right there, but I've also got this pattern. And either one of these are going to be the body of the hawk. And so I think I'm going to use this one. So I'm just going to start by putting in some marks over in the area where the hawk's going to go. Now this is fairly dark, but we'll fix this in a second. It's just, I'm trying a different approach today, folks. So I hope that, bear with me. We're all in this together, huh? I have ideas. Chris gets ideas. Okay? And I know it might not be a good thing, but we're going with it. What else have I got? Well, let's use ballpoint. See what I can do with that. So the idea here is, Jim says Tony Hawk or Ethan Hawk. Jim, come on, Lady Hawk. It's really, I was in a chat the other day with Gary and Jim, and when Lady Hawk got mentioned in the conversation, I was very pleased. It's a film that I really enjoyed when it came out, and no one else I knew liked it or would even give it any time. And I'm like, what? Well, it's a good movie. You'll like it. Try it. Somebody else referenced it. I think it was Gary. Somebody else referenced it. Made me very happy. Yeah, that's not like that. Okay, we'll try the Fidelis game. If you haven't seen Lady Hawk, it's got Michelle Pfeiffer and Rutger Hauer in it. So how can that go wrong? There we go. So this overlap of this texture is because we're just making some noise and the surface and the body of the bird. And so my thought here is that if I draw the bird like so, and use this stencil pattern throughout the form, and what we can do is we can build up, his feathers and the form and body of the animal, and it just gives a little something to it. It's really no different than when I'm drawing on top of a modulated surface, right? When we've got jelly plated paper or something like that. This is kind of the same thing. It's just because I've been finding these other ways to modify surface, I haven't done things like this in a little while. So we're going to do a little today. So we're giving it a shot. There are hawks where I live. Something nice to see. Yeah, we've got hawks and falcons back in London again. They were gone for a long time in the city, and so there's lots of falcons that live downtown London now. There was a whole thing about trying to protect them and make sure that they weren't interfered with by humans when they first started showing up again. So I think that's awesome that you've got hawks, and we've primarily falcons here, but you'll see hawks outside of the city readily, but not as much inside the city. Okay, so I'm putting down just some of this structure for the bird, and then we'll get into this a little bit more, but I really want to just try this pattern thing out. But today's page being entitled The Talent of the Hawk, yeah, there's a whole bunch of things we can do with this. But let's just try this. Let's just keep let's turn this a little bit each time so that hopefully it's simulating that it's moving around the surface. That's the theory. That's the theory. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. You're never going to find out if you don't try, right? The thing with working digitally is that digitally you can just put a stencil down on a different layer over your picture. Nope, I don't like it. And you just remove that layer. It's so quick and easy. Whereas when you're working traditionally, you're trying to just sort of guesstimate if it's going to work or not, because you can't just lift it off. It's there now. So, except you can. You can do a couple of things to just sort of push it into the environment. So I'll show you what I mean. So I've started putting this patterning for the bird's form, and because I've drawn the entire thing with this gray, I'm going to, when I add like a black or some sort of binding color, in this case black is probably easiest, it should just unify the different pieces of information. So, do I have one nearby? Here we are. What's your name? Gregory. Chris says, I just have animal print stencils. I think I need to figure out how to add them to drawings. That, or utilize them in your drawings in this, like if you're doing a drawing of like a goat, I don't know, a goat. We're saying a goat today. And you use a goat stencil, like perhaps you have a stencil of a goat, I don't know. We're just reaching here. But do a bunch of little different colored goats within the structure of the drawing of a goat you did. And if you use, like these muted colors, and when you're drawing, like say you use like soft yellows and oranges and a little bit of pasteling, you know what I mean, with some white, as you're putting these stamps of these different goats that you have inside your goat drawing, and then you can tie it together with the tones, the tints and the shades. So this is a theory that we're trying today, but we'll see if this works. We'll see how this goes. It's all about throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. Be a little bit crazy, because everything is. Hold on, here we go. Experimental. Oh, that was free. Chris says, mostly zebra, snake, leopard markings in the stencils. Well, there you go. There you go. Let's try to incorporate those. I'll try odd textures with those markings. Why not? Why not? And even if it's just something running through the background of an image, right? Why not? Give it a try. So I'm just continuing the drawing of the bird. And then we're going to try to figure out where we're going to go with our narrative here, with our story, and see how we can apply the suggestion, the talent of the hawk, and into our into some kind of short piece. So I've got the lid on you. Where are you? There you are. So let's use stripes. Oh, you're good. I like you. It's pretty thick, though. I got to get thinner ones. Faster to draw by hand. So I'm going to come in next with unifier, the second unifier. Like I got the black here that ties together that form, but then I can start to play around a little bit more with this white. Just that third value should allow me to, I don't know, change the direction of it a little bit. Hold on, I'll hold it up. I know so here's where we're sort of what looks more like a turtle than a hawk right now. So here's how these random shapes, patterns are coming together into our hawk shape. Why don't I finish drawing out our hawk? Here's the title of the page. There's the talon coming in. So I'm working from a little thumbnail like I normally do. Got an idea. This is how many feet, how many toes does a hawk have? I can't see in the picture. How many feet? How many feet's on a bird? So if anybody has questions or ideas or things they want to talk about or suggestions, feel free. Hit me. Don't hit me. I'm sensitive. But you know what I mean. Be gentle. Right now. And we got big tail feathers kicking out here. So Lori and I went and got our passports done for some traveling in the new year. And when we did that, the place where we got our passports done had all these photographs that are clearly going back 20, 30 years. And it's interesting, all this wildlife photography he had. It's the last place I can ever think of seeing images of wildlife, you know, publicly like that. Jim's got a question here. I'd like to know if you have any long form stories lined up and if you ever consider telling them on Instagram as a strip. I do have long form stuff coming up, but I don't know that I do them on Instagram as a strip. I think I'll do them on Patreon. If I do it panel by panel like that, because Instagram and Facebook is really where I'm posting the one page stuff. And the thing about the one page is that, you know, in the new year, when whatever the new thing is that we're coming out with, it'll be a one page thing. And so it'd be nice if everything sort of tied together. But I like the idea of it a lot. I did it last year. I did a piece called Ghost Story, and I would do a page at a time. I'll show you. I think I have it somewhere here. Maybe this is it. Yeah, I think. Yeah, this is it. So this is, I'll show you quick. It's a nice question though, Jim. Like what Paul's doing. Yeah, what Paul's doing is really fun. But like Paul's working on his strip each day, I'm working on a page each day. But I could do this. Chris says, I can't stay long today. If rain stops, I need to go to a gathering with some colleagues in an hour or so. Oh, that sounds like fun. That sounds nice. So this is a book that I did about a ghost. It's set in a small town, and so I penciled this whole book, and I haven't released it. Why? Because I'm complicated. But this is pages and panels of story about a small town and ghost sightings and hauntings going on, and what's really happening here in this town. And so it all started from a one page. This one. It started when I drew this one page piece, and then I thought I really enjoyed this story, and I think I might want to continue it. So I did, and I've got this 6-part story where I put it all together, and I started putting these pages on Instagram last year. I think I've removed them all because, I've got to figure out something else that I'm doing. So it's an insert piece. But I was really happy. It's setting and the first thing that I had was I had an assignment for somebody for doing a ghost haunting in a high school. And so I put together these sort of scribbles and doodles for it. And then that job fell apart, which happens a lot. And, adaptation materials and stuff like that. And so, when I had this idea come out, a suggestion from somebody that was relatively close to that project, I looked at that resource imagery while I illustrated this story. And so it was fun to see it have a little bit of life somehow. And then I just kept going with it. So I think I'll do something with that, but I don't know when. But I do that all the time. When Lori and I started publishing books in 2015, it's because she found 3 completely finished books of mine in a drawer that I've done nothing with. I do that, and I'm working on it. But Chris says, those pages look really nice. Is it blue pencil only? No. What I do here, I'll hold it up. Let's see. This one will be a better example. So when I'm drawing the panel, for enhancements on certain lines, like the exterior of characters, I went over those in a red pencil. And so what that does is it pulls that if you scan this and turn it to a flat black for all these colors, then the red jumps up as a darker value because it reads darker when being scanned like that. So this is it also helps me to differentiate the planes in the images. These 2 kids standing in the foreground, then there's the wall, then there's the trees, right? These guys in the bush in the foreground, and then this information behind. So it's a blue pencil and a red pencil, and I think other pages might have. Was it all blue? Yeah, the whole thing's blue and red. So yeah. So that's the closest I've ever done that. Now there's a couple of people that I myself enjoy online here, like Mr. Paul Pate, that are all doing day-by-day postings of panels, and it's a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun when they do that. There's an immediacy to that lets people not have to wait, and people like not having to wait. But I think because I have the facility to work as fast as I do, doing pages each day, I think this is what I enjoy doing, is telling different stories all the time. When there are projects where I feel like this is a story I want to explore more, I'll do that. I might be crazy here. I don't know, folks, but I'm having a migraine all day long today. And it's everything to do with the fact that I have not drank any caffeine yet today. Because I am trying to not drink caffeine. Because the other day, Lori said, Christopher, you drink a lot of caffeine. That's all it takes for me. So here's our bird going in. So here's our hawk for our suggestion. And, well, I got to finish his feathers, don't I? So let's silly this up. One of the things that we can do is it's such an open suggestion, the talon of the hawk. Well, what about it, right? So why don't we do a page trying to find out which one the talon is? I know that might sound silly, but the one-page stories that I do here aren't always. Bob was born in 1492, and he traveled his way across the land. Sometimes it's just exploring a sentence or a notion, and I don't just mean like when I get 3-word prompts or a random sentence prompts. I'm referring to like what the pages that I did. For those that joined late, they might have missed this, but for the pages that I did and posted today, like dance moves, it's a sentence. What do you think of my dance moves? Right? So we're exploring about a whole world that got caught up in dancing, and everybody some try to escape and run away, but everybody inevitably ends up dancing. Or this one is an easy child, and so here's another story that starts from here is a little baby, here's a little boy, and then he blows up the world. There's like a sort of real editorialized short stepping of a massive story there. But then this one, I'm thinking a lot about dogs. This really is a 2-note thing where I've been thinking a lot about dogs. That's not a dog, so it doesn't always have to be a larger story, a larger narrative. So it's just playing. It's just trying different things and seeing how things come together. So I'm drawing over top of the pattern that I put down and utilizing that as information for myself for the body of the bird here. And so we'll just keep that rolling through there. But you and I know, we both know that stuff's under there. It's no different than when I'll put masking tape on paper and draw over top of the paper and the masking tape. It's like it's just complexity on the surface. Hi, Miriam. Welcome aboard. Miriam has been making a little miniature town for Christmas/Hanukkah, and it's very fun. I'm enjoying that, Miriam. I've missed a piece of the bird's wing here. There's a part that moves inside the larger span for the tail feathers fanning, I think it is. Anyway, so we've got this coming together now, and I don't want to play with it too much. I want to move on. But we'll just do a little bit more and then get on our bikes and get pedaling to the next. Okay, so here's the idea, is that the page being entitled The Talon of the Hawk, we are going to find the talon of the hawk on this hawk. And I'm sure some of you are like, Chris, it's right there. Are we sure? Are we sure which one the talon is? Let's find out and see. Let's do it as a group. Give you lines on the bottom. Okay, where are we at? some of the things, sometimes what I like doing when I'm drawing a page is that I'll talk about an idea that I'm, working through myself, or I'll talk about, some sort of remembrance or reminiscence of something else, or a silly little piece like it's not a dog, it's the thing is, if I'm doing these pages for people, right, then objectively I want to fulfill their expectation on the pages. That's what we do when we work for clients. But if I'm just doing these myself here on the stream, I appreciate the suggestions, but I didn't ask for scripts, and I didn't ask for structured, this is what I want you to draw and do it in this way. But so, that's paying work. So that's why I tend to take some crazy leaps. Like yesterday's 3-word prompt thing, one of them was anchor. Or was that Tuesday? 3-prompt Tuesday. And I didn't draw an anchor. I utilized the word anchor for, in a tug of war competition, and I was referring to the anchor position in it. That's part of the experiment of doing things in different ways and looking at them from different angles and exploring stories this way. We don't get hung up on one aspect like that. Look at that. The sky's already in there. Chris says, I've got lost school lunch in an hour. It's raining. I hate driving in rain. See if somebody nearby takes me and another colleague. Nice. Graham says, do you need a sober driver? My colleague doesn't drink. Well, neither do I. So there we go. Okay, so we've got the start of our falcon down here. And so that came together fairly quick. So let's look at the next. The page, the suggestion is the talon of the hawk. So, I mean, let's just draw the different parts of the bird and try to see if we can identify which one of these is the talon. Hey? Miriam says, perfect. Okay, so let's start with the head. And I'll draw the head in. We'll see if we can figure out which of the parts of this thing is the talon. Because I don't know if you know, but I don't know that I know entirely well. Birds are fun. Birds used to be one of those things where you look at them and you go, how do you draw birds? And then once you realize, oh, they're just shapes. Don't fret too much about the bird and drawing the bird, and just look at the shapes and put assemble some shapes together and see what that gives you. It should be a bird. Now, some bird specialists might look at your story and go, that is actually not how a hawk's wings go, because their hawks are specific. We're not doing a hawk for that guy. We're doing a hawk for our story. And our principal interest in writing and illustrating stories is the conveyance of the ideas of our story, right? So for me, birds are the evolution of dinosaurs. That's why I like the chicken conspiracy. Uh-oh, what'd you do, Chris? Yeah, oh yeah, I like that. That's one of the reasons I like it too. Well, actually, birds are far more threatening than you might realize, because there's proven evidence of the continuation of birds from dinosaur species like the Tyrannosaurus rex. Yeah. That's from the 60s, by the way. For the longest time, what do you call dinosaurologists? What do you call them? The conceit was that they were from what is the meaning of the word ornery? Well, isn't Isn't that, what did they call a place where they keep birds? It's got something to do with that. Where was I? Oh yeah, there was a guy in the '60s who, and his name's something really basic like Smith, but he was the one that said, "Look at the bones. Look at the bones of birds," and it was that Osteophragilix or whatever it was. I can't remember the name. Anybody that's a big dinosaur person probably knows the name of this thing. Feel free to put it in the comments and help me out. But he looked at that and said, "This is clearly the feathers that are in this that are preserved in this fossil aren't something he's lying on top of. Those are his feathers." And so when he started really promoting this idea, and it had such absolutely solid proof towards it, you started seeing the entirety of the dinosaur loving community change. And to think that that only happened in the '60s is interesting. Like, it's just so recently. It's this wild card guy out there who makes a realization that an entire industry has said, no, that's not true. And he's like, let me show you why it's true. It makes you wonder about a lot. Now, some of the stuff's nuts. Let's just be plain and honest. But it makes you wonder about a lot of these guys that are doing these perspectives on, okay, the ancient alien hypothesis is dismissive, and I'm not a big fan of it, but the reason I say it's dismissive is that it attributes the accomplishments of humanity's history not to humanity but to outside forces. So there are things in there, though, like the Dogon people, and there's a real basis of scientific discovery in their belief system. Where it comes from, we don't know. They said it's from the people from below that taught them all this stuff, and all the rituals are to maintain this in their collective memory. But I think that, and then there's a couple of guys, like there's a guy named Maxwell something or other. I got his book. I read his book, where he starts looking at the symbological language of primitive cultures and how it is. There's an awful lot of them that's similar to symbology used today in modern sciences, and it's all interesting. Disagreeable? Disagreeable? The Dogon are definitely an interesting one. They really are. Like, there's got to be something more to that, because they even wear outfits as they're doing their ritualistic dances and celebrations and tribal gatherings. And they put on these outfits that look like this guy's wearing a spacesuit. And when you look at the NASA guys that go up and they're even carrying their little briefcases of oxygen tanks as they're making their way from the center to the rocket, it looks exactly like these Dogon outfits. And there's examples in Mexican culture of things that people are attributing to being aircraft and pilots, and I think it also might be a highly stylized form of artistic expression. But I think that there's all kinds of things that we just take for granted and yes or no answers that may prove otherwise. Objectivism is wrong, basically, is my take. Black, objectivism, Ayn Rand, black and white, there's no gray, there's no in between. If you were convicted of a crime, you served your time, you're not an ex-convict, you're a convict, you were convicted. That absolutism, which, by the way, the creator of Spider-Man was an objectivist. Quetzalcoatl in Mexico, Aztec god, was believed to be the feathered snake. Quetzalcoatl means feather, as far as I remember. Yes, you did, and I caught that, Gary. I thought that was brilliant. Yeah, and for those that... hold on, I'll come to this in a second. The Aztec god Quetzalcoatl believed to be a feathered snake. And then the visitors the visitation of some of these deities in human form, they're always described as light skinned with incredibly fair hair. And so that's interesting too. But there's lots of evidence of global civilization from a far earlier date than people are comfortable with admitting to, because of the commonality and it's not commonality by structure. And what I mean by that is when you build things, this is the basic building blocks of how to build things. It's commonality of expression that goes around the world. And so there's something to that. Anyways, so that might be a dinosaur, maybe, Chris. Is that what you think? Maybe. Could be. The rocks existed, by the way, and rocks were there in the I think up to the early 1900s in Australia. Rocks are 8-foot tall birds that were not nice. They were not nice. They attacked people because they didn't know that there was a food chain, or that they weren't at the top of it. But yeah, there could have been rocks around Mexico. We don't know. The meaning of the word ornery that I asked for, I searched, and it's desecratable. I didn't understand. Ornery. They said you were ornery? That's rude. Yeah, I don't know who that was, but you're not generally ornery or disagreeable, Miriam. I've never noticed it anyways. Now, the Spaniards arrived. Aztecs believes Quetzalcoatl coming back. Not being Hispanic, I didn't actually want to say that. Because there's a little too much of white guys on television saying, and that's what this meant. And they're generally wrong. So the god was light-skinned, yeah. With Gary and his reference in DVSM 75, I featured Gary's books last week, I think. It was last week, maybe the week before. But I showed you the DVSM books in the stream here on one of the episodes. And I can't sing its praises highly enough. And if you get an opportunity, check these out. Check these books out. Look how close they are. Paul's books here, Gary's books here. I won't spoil everything. There we go. There it is. I'm going to show a piece of it. Just a piece of it. Woo-hoo! Anyways, Dogon reference. Fantastic books, though. Get a chance, look up DVSM on the interwebs. Thank you, Gary. It's rude, but as long as I understand it, I know how to react. Believe me, sometimes comments that I say thank you, and maybe they are rude. We all do that. Sometimes diffuse these people. People say rude things to you. Say, well, that's very nice of you. That's very considerate, and I appreciate it. I need to go now. See you around tomorrow. Excellent. Excellent. We're going to do 3-Prompt Tuesday next Tuesday with Chris joining us. I'm really looking forward to that, folks. So have a great day, Chris. Enjoy your social get-together. Okay, so I got to finish this goofy bird. It just feels bare without the patterning on it now. Well, let's fix that. So here's is this the talon? There's our first part. And let's just draw over this and draw over that. Who cares? I used to like drawings that were like 5 different drawings in 5 different directions. Hi, Ariri. Welcome aboard. Gary says it's a different part. Dogon petroglyph. Oh. I thought that was a Dogon outfit because it really closely resembles one of their costumes. Oh, snap. Here we go. Here we go. Bingo, bango, bongo. There it is. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Gary. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's a nice little extra layer hit in his piece. Page 32, left side, middle panel for those curious. Okay. I think I showed that one. I think I showed the right one. Okay, let's do the eyeball on this guy. Junky line that was. We'll fix it. I was worried about do I do this stream or not today because I didn't have a coffee today. Okay, so here's our next part of our bird. Let's do, what other textures have I got? You know what I could do? Let's. Oh, I meant to see the play. I use a pencil crayon for this. I hope that everybody that's joined us has been having a good day. I always see that the folks at the start. It's Thursday. You know what that means? Tomorrow's Friday. So this is the pattern I was using up here. Let's just use this one here. Now, how easy is this going to be? Not easy. It's going to make me do it the hard way. All right. Yeah, the DVSM books are really great. Paul's books are really great. You know, the things that I'm seeing people do on their streams, and it's really nice to be able to witness and to experience a bunch of this fantastic creativity that's happening out here. And, you know, I say this and I stand by it, is that one of the things that I really enjoy about having joined, finally doing things online, is that, you know, I get to meet all these fantastic creative people, like many of you here, and or probably all of you here. And we get to see what each other are doing and be encouraging and supportive, and it ain't half bad. Where is it? Why don't you, Buzz? Just got a message from somebody said, "Hey, let's make new memories together." And if you get a chance, I was on Jim's stream this week for his latest episode of Hey Man, How's Your Movie Going? And he showed some new stuff he's doing. And it was Gary and Jim and I were talking about, you know, how we've been, you know, what some kind of help for Jim and his creative process, each of us. And it's kind of nice. So that can be agreeable. No. You know, I often try to fill in volumes with the paint markers every time I inevitably go over to ink, just because it's more controllable and manageable. You can get larger areas put down with it this way without having to work towards it. Just quick strokes, and there you are. I'll tell you what, on Tuesday when Chris joins us, for those that are able to, or even if you're not able to and you want to put some input in on it, we're looking for 3 suggestions to work from for 3 Prompt Tuesday. Both of us are gonna work on the same thing. We talked about this because the freedom of that is that neither of us are gonna work the same way. There's no comparison of this one to that one because they're different things. And what one of us will do with the 3 prompts and the other one will do are not going to be similar for the most part because we think very differently. We have all kinds of different associations and experiences that we refer to when we're working. So what I encourage is for anybody that might be interested, people are welcome to join and to also take part in this. And so what I was thinking about, this is an idea I've had. I need like 500 more viewing hours of the channel here. Now, this isn't petitioning for anything. I need 500 more viewing hours of the channel here, and then it opens up a whole bunch of things. Now, I know lots of people have thousands of viewers and so on and so forth, but I really enjoy the numbers that we have and the amount of us that are all engaging with each other. But when I have some of these things open up, one of the things that I can do is do a side thing where it's just a thing where we share stuff with each other. It's sort of like the community page, like the community tab on YouTube. And so if people are interested and are also taking swings at some of the suggestions being given and some of the prompts being thrown, if you're interested in doing those too, please do. But if you want to share them and we can show, the rest of us in the community here, not just what you're doing, which is exciting, but we can also show the differences in how we look at story. And that could be something we can speak to as a group, For all them normies out there, what don't do the picture making, So if people are interested in that, it is something I'm going to try to get set up in the new year, and to sort of also help to sort of encourage and build the community here of doing stuff like that. I am learning how the robot works. So, bear with me. It's been a real curve of doing streams like this for the year to learn how to do things and how to figure out some of the stuff that so many other people like. It's just this, just tap that button, I don't even remember to say, hey, don't forget to tell your grandma about this, All right, so let's, I don't know, let's do a wing. Why not? Why don't we do a hawk's wings and see where that gets us? But the idea of this page is that it's going to be images moving into images. We're not going to have any panels on this page. It's totally going to be just overlapping visual elements. And I'm not too worried about, well, how is that a one-page comic story? Well, it is, because sequential media and sequential storytelling, specifically the two-dimensional form that comics are, is the fusion of words and pictures. And so while the visual stuff is open-ended and overlapping, we're going to carry the narrative through the piece textually. And so we will lead our viewers' eyes around the image in the way that we want. And so when you're doing a page like this, go for it. Have some fun. Don't worry too much about it looking like something else or it following a certain pattern set of rules, all that's nonsense. Comics is like anything else. Art is about. Okay, you're going to hear an Andy Warhol quote from me, which is an incredible rarity. But Andy Warhol, the one of his quotes that I enjoy is, art is about seeing what you can get away with. And in this context, it's like I often say, you don't have to draw everything perfectly. You don't have to draw the perfect hawk. Well, a hawk actually has a different ridge brow. You know, it's about the storytelling part. We're here to tell a story, and so the rest of it, optimally, we're going to get away with, right? And the reason for that being is that this isn't a page to linger on. This is a page to go, oh, and it gets you to turn to the next page. Now, if this was a narrative, if this was a story that went page to page, in this case, these are one-page stories, so stick with it for a minute. But even so, it's not about, this isn't like somebody doing a print for like a $400 print of what was the guy's name? Robert Bateman, right? With his animal prints. Gary says, I just encountered the same Warhol quote for the first time. It's great. It really is. I hope that he said this quote in a case of, and speaking to just openness and working. And there is a part of Andy Warhol that I will not ever like, and that, just his open discourse on art as commodity and art as product for sale, and is incredibly good at marketing, but I'm more interested in the work itself than the marketing. All right, so we've got until so now we're doing the wings spanned out. So drawing in the gray pen is kind of fun because it opens it up. When artists ask if there are things that are off limits in art, I always felt the answer is no, but the but being the execution. Anything can be done if it's done well. If it achieves its purpose, yes. I mean, done well is the argument of aesthetics, right? Because there's a great deal of printed books and a great deal of published works by artists and celebrations of artists that I look at what they're doing and go, yeah, I got it, And I think that certain forms and styles of art I find are just fantastic accommodations for joining in. Not in the sense of you're exploring your own dialogues, you're exploring your own want for creation and trying to express yourself in your way. No, that's how I'll draw horses, like this person draws horses. And they don't, the people don't talk about it. It's not a horse thing. I think that they're doing a disservice to themselves when artists do that. But is a powerful thing. I can hear my cats monkeying around upstairs. I don't know what they're doing. Corbin is snoring beside me. Corbin is snoring. I'm like, what in the world is that sound? It's Corbin snoring here with me. What a goofball. Okay, so here's our bird. And we'll throw some textures on him too, because it's fun. But Ask Janet, it's a powerful thing. For those who don't know, Janet M. Young, if you go check out her Instagram post, she posted Butttober, and she put butts on everything. She's like so many random objects and people and places and things and everything. Just butts everywhere. Good fun. All right, so we use this one this time. Have I used this one yet? Maybe I have. Let's use this one then. I always advocate that people find their voice and people explore and try to get themselves closer to that thing that they've been wanting to say. But because art's just another form of communication, right? There's a little too much in the art world of commodity these days. One of the greatest acts, by the way, in art in the last, I don't know how long, was when somebody paid some ungodly amount of money for Banksy, and then he, as soon as the purchase had gone through and they closed the sale, and who was the lucky one that got it? And then the art on the wall literally turns on, and the picture drops down and starts shredding out the bottom of the frame. That was one of the greatest acts in the art community, and I don't know how long. I just thought that was just fantastically fun. Because that's a guy who gets it. I mean, his work has been. They take walls off of places. They will take the face off of a building in order to secure and the Banksy that got spray painted on it. Like, that's crazy behavior. That's supposed to be a rebellious act, but it became this mainstream thing. And so what does he do? As soon as he's given the platform and the opportunity, he shreds his own art at an auction house. That is a fantastic expression of a finger up in the air to a system. There you go, Gary. That's kicking too. On that note, another quote I recently found that I liked well enough to pin on my wall in my workspace is favor process over applause. Oh yeah, that's great. That is great. I like that a lot. Okay, so let's get the black one going, and we'll get this. What are we at? We're at an hour 10. It's getting productive. Baby snoring in the chair and Corbin snoring on the floor. Good stuff. Yeah, I love that a lot. I love focus on the process, not the applause. Gary, who said that? Another quote that I really like is it's a picture of Abraham Lincoln, and he says, I really hate when people, no, it's very hip, the language. It's something like, the gist of it is he hates when people attribute quotes to him. But the way it's phrased is very clearly in the vernacular of our times, and was it people best get wise people best get wise to be able to see through things that other people said I can't remember what it is. I'll have to look it up for you. But it's basically just hip hop Lincoln telling you to not believe everything that's attributed to something. I just think that was funny. I wish I could remember it. What a pathetic way of trying to remember that thing. But okay, so here we are again with trying to unify, even though we've got the white pattern in here. I'm still going to come through and put the white of the feathers in. Feathers or the talon? Miriam so there was Inktober, and then Miriam did another follow-up one to that where she spent the entire month doing a second one, but hers was based on painters. Or am I getting, is that, here's the first one was on painters, Miriam, and the second one's on, it's hard to keep track of what everybody's doing. Fun thing about doing a page that is pretty much entirely traditionally mixed media drawn and illustrated, and there you go, is that, where you don't have to worry about borders or anything else because it's either there or it's not meant to be. The lovely simplicity of that is that when you do have to figure out presenting it in a nice cleaned up kind of way, it generally is. It's because of the form. But so here is the talon. Maybe not. It's a great quote though, Gary. I appreciate you sharing that. But please check out Miriam's work. What am I yawning? Excuse me. Again, no caffeine today. Painttober and November pencil. So painters during Inktober, and then different pencil illustrations for November. And now she's doing Deckwad. I don't know. This what? What is Deswad? I try to get a chance to look at what others are doing on social media, but I have a hard time because so much of it feeds through so fast. And, so let's do another part of the bird where, how about the tail feathers? We'll do the watercolors thank you, of course. Deswad is watercolors for the month of December. So take a look at Miriam's social channels. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so I'm going to do the tail feathers, I guess. I don't know. Let's just do so we'll do the outline of the form. And then we'll do the head. So this is a back shot of the back of the hawk. I'm looking at a thumbnail here. So next month is alcohol. Next month, Miriam's going to spend the whole month drunk. Dessert was made with liquid elk. That's not what she means. I'm being silly. So if you have, we talked yesterday about what are people's favorite tools to work with, and it's a fantastic, diverse list of things that people were referring to, and it's really interesting to me. I think that I don't know that I've necessarily settled on one. I know for a fact I'm too all over the place for. If you could just work on one thing, what would you work in? And that's the thing where I'm like, oh, I don't know. I can never give an honest answer on that because I don't want to work on one thing in one style in one medium. It's that part of me that is always trying to shake everything up with what I'm doing. And is that alcohol markers next month then, Miriam? If it's alcohol month? So, and it's forcing myself to draw these, as I'm drawing the different pages, to draw all these things in different mediums forces me to expand myself and expand what ability I might have to do stuff and to pursue different materials, pursue different ways of making marks. And it's great. It's great because Miriam says markers and inks for December. That's excellent. I think that is possibly the big contributor to helping me expand whatever ability I have forward, because I'm always trying different applications and different formats of storytelling and different ideas all the time. And it's more than just getting bored easy. It's a lot more to do with trying to grow. And I hope that people give themselves the opportunity to do that. Let yourself grow. It's you're not hurting yourself to grow creatively. It's tricky, right? And I work this way. This is how I work. And you know that when you try long and hard to find that setting, to find that working scenario, to find that space dedicated to this, to try other things means being a little bit disruptive. So I know how I try to incorporate it into this process, but you got to figure out how that works for you. And maybe it doesn't. Maybe you're really enjoying working, penciling, or I just like inking, or I just like painting, and or I'm a musician and I just like to play these kinds of instruments, and nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with that at all. Boy, I guess I can see where the American flag and stuff comes from. It's the back of a hawk. So the intention of this one's to show the back feathers. So now this is the part where I talk about seeing what you can get away with. Is that if you were to sit down and count, well, a hawk has this specific amount of wings. Mine probably does not, and because I'm not counting those, I'm not focusing on that part. I'm focusing on that looking somewhat like a hawk or bird at the very least. If you take the time, if you're compelled to do so, to take the time and to properly define the wings and stuff, power to you. Go do it. But Surprise. I don't have the patience for it. Because I'm trying to tell stories and move forward. Yeah, this is pretty. These greens are pretty. It's a fun pattern to play with. Is there any animals that people have a hard time with drawing? It's or do you just stay away from drawing animals and whatever you're working on because you don't like drawing them? Or is animals an easy thing for you to draw? Let's get this guy down. Cool. And we're capped up. Should really use. Sometimes there's a part of me that's like, you should just use the bigger pictures. It says everything that has a reference pic I can manage. Well, yeah, great, excellent, yeah. I mean, and this goes back to there's nothing wrong with people using reference. However you go about it, that's your prerogative. I mean, I can't stand people that look at other people and go, oh yeah, I can clearly tell this is drawn with reference. Yeah. So what? If the story makes sense, the story makes sense. Miriam, same. I'm fine that I have some references to look at. Without a reference, it's only a handful of animals that I feel confident drawing. Yeah, it's tricky because it's legs. You think about animals' legs, and you fall down that. What is it? What in that hole? I don't know. Wishing well hole. You know what I mean? Drawing their legs is what catches most of us up. Catches me up. Riri says, I love alcohol inks. See, I've got acrylic inks. I've got lots of alcohol inks too, but I tend to enjoy acrylic inks. But I don't know that I've really tried alcohol inks on a good enough level. All right, I'll white that out. Miriam says, with time you learn you can do it freely. That's why I do my challenges. Oh yeah, there you go. That's a great way for you to grow and for you to enlarge those horizons. So what you can work on is just try it out. Give it a shot. Try all the different things. Okay, I didn't finish the, excuse me, I'm trying not to sneeze. I didn't finish this part of the bird. I just sort of moved ahead. We'll get that finished off too. All right, so we've got a whole bunch of the elements put together. The suggestion for today is talon of the hawk, and so we're looking at a bunch of bird body parts and trying to figure out which one of these is a talon. It's fun, just playing with a different approach, playing with a different idea. But there's how the lines coming through. I've tried both things. Everyone have their rules. I intend to do it with the jelly plate too, so I can use regular paper. There you go. Oh, Riri says I like those too. So here's our montage of hawk coming in, and working towards getting this all finished for tomorrow. I'm going to have a couple more parts of the bird that, of course, the last one at the bottom here is going to be the talon, right? Oh, you mean his feet? But yeah, we'll get that cracking. I think I'm going to sign off for today. Thanks everybody that's come out and hung out and spent some time together. As always, if you've got one-page story ideas, you're always welcome to share them. If you've got one-word prompts you want to throw at me, please feel free to put those in the comments of this or the social media, Instagram, Facebook, yada, yada, yada. And if you're working on stuff from the same prompts or the same suggestions from people, I'd just love to see them. There's no criticism coming your way. I'm not that guy. There's no judgment on which one's better or worse. Pardon me. See, I knew that was coming. There's no judgment on which one's better or worse. It's entirely a case of I just like to see the different approaches that people take to things. I think that's a lot of fun. And so I'm always encouraging in that. And there's no such thing as this guy's better than that guy, period. No way. Everybody's different. Everybody has their own thing that they do. So I will be back tomorrow for Fun Time Friday at 2 p.m. EST, just making sure. And then, just to plant a bug in people's ears, 2 p.m. on Tuesday next week, Chris Kalouet will be joining me here on the stream, and we'll be doing 3 Prompt Thursday. We'll be doing that together. So, there's some upcoming dates. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow at 2. Thanks very much for coming and hanging out, everybody. Bye for now.